Bang! Neeves Knives, I'm Jared, and today we have a new budget knife from MIGURON, the NORSA. Now, my question is this the best budget knife or the best value budget knife that you can get right now? Because it's only $30 with aluminum scales and D2 steel. Now, here's the thing. I know D2 people are going to be like, well, man, I wish it was 14C. Well, we're going to test it. Let's see how good the D2 is before we jump to any conclusions, because D2 has the ability to be very, very good. It's just a lot of companies also have a great ability of messing it up. So we're going to sharpen it up and see, you know, how well it takes an edge, how well it deburrs, and see how well it feels on the stone, because D2 is pretty easy to kind of tell. Now, they do have the VAKOR and the Talisman, or Talism. This one I think is the Talism, but I think they have a titanium and M390 version identical to this, or at least it looks like it, but it does have a different name, so I'm not sure if there is a difference, for $100. M390 and titanium for $100. And if it's the exact same model, this thing is extremely slicey, extremely thin. This knife period, like this one, the what would this be? This would be the Talisman or something, I don't know, something like that. I love this thing. I absolutely love this thing. The only problem I had was the stop pin does hit like right there. So that does pose an issue, because when I tried to remove it, it did cause an issue. So, you know, if I do sharpen all that steel out, my edge will start hitting, you know, the edge will start hitting the stop pin and then eventually hit the back spacers. But that is a lot of life for, I think this is $43. But this one though, let's talk about this one. Like I said, we're going to sharpen up here in 1 second. We have a beautiful plunge grind right here. Where does the stop pin hit? Right there. However, if you look, there's another spot right there where the crossbar is hitting. So I don't think this one will have an issue. I think once you sharpen that out, nothing's going to happen. I think it'll basically just keep hitting the crossbar. So that's good news. And that's a hopefully. I haven't taken it apart, but I mean, I can see it hitting. So now we have an aluminum handle, like I said, a steel deep carry clip that is reversible, T8 hardware all the way around, and it is very comfortable in the hand. Very, very comfortable. Great size. The lockup is a damn bank. I mean, I don't get no flex side to side, no up and down, nothing. This thing is rock solid. Great action. Detent, or what acts as the detent, could maybe be a tiny bit stronger, but that's probably just me. Most people, I don't think, would ever complain about that. It's better than most, I'll say that. Better than most, you know, Benchmades and whatnot. So it's good. Yeah, it's good. I just, you know, I'm a little bit of a detent freak, so sometimes I like to have them a little bit stronger. But beautiful, full, almost a full flat grind. It does have like a little bit of a harpoon drop point blade shape. So phenomenal for EDC, right? You got pinch grips that are going to work really well for cutting around things. It's basically a very versatile knife for just about anybody. And even if you have large hands like myself, it's going to work just fine. I do have one other nitpick I want to bring up though, and that is just the clip. So mine came with it kind of raised up a little bit. Like it looks like it didn't smash in there quite as good as it could have. So, you know, it's not that big of a deal. I don't think it'll pose an issue. Maybe I'll take it out and put it back in to see if it goes in nice and straight. It is perfectly centered. I'm not hitting the tip or anything. And by the way, after you remove that much steel off of it, the tip's probably you're probably going to be able to start touching the tip pretty soon after. Probably be about right there. So maybe not quite. You know, I don't know. It's hard to say. But what I want to know is, how is this steel? Because I'll tell you what, this is a badass knife. For $30, I don't think you can go wrong with this for $30, as long as this D2 is good. Because it's got the geometry, it's got the ergonomics, it's got the handle material, lightweight, slim, slicey, nice lock, good clip, you know, for the most part. I doubt everybody's going to deal with that little tiny issue that I have, which isn't even really an issue. It'll probably click right in there once I take it out and put it back in. But sharpening. Let's see how this puppy sharpens up. Do have some new PDT CBN double-sided bonded stones here. I have 4 of them all together. They didn't come in this. This is from Sharpall. But shout out to Sharpall. I do have some diamond plates that come in this that we're going to be talking about here in a couple days. But here is 4 double-sided bonded stones that I've been testing. This video isn't about these stones, but I just wanted to show you guys because I know people are going to be asking what stones are that. So we're going to start off with the 160 grit CBN side. The next side is a 285, but we're going to get through the sharpening quick. I'm not going to make you sit through it all, but I wanted to just, you know, kind of get a good feeling of it. Let's see how this feels on the stone. First off, the blade shape is a very easy shape to sharpen. It's very easy to repeat my angle, and that has to do with the blade shape and the handle, the way you can grip it and get a good grip. I feel comfortable. I feel like I could do back and forth passes or single passes. Either one feels really, really good, which is a good thing. Typically, I have a preference depending on the shape and the handle. Now, as far as the steel feeling hard or anything, I'm not going to judge it yet. I want to remove a little bit of steel first because you never know if the steel is burnt right here or not. And that could come off feeling soft or hard. So we'll grind this, the old bevel off, and then we'll see exactly how she feels. That we have our final burr, I'm going to remove it on the 1500. I could do it on the 650. I think it's fine enough to do that, but we're going to do it on the 1500. We're going to see how she feels getting flipped back and forth. So far the steel does feel nice and hard. Once I sharpened the first part of the bevel off, it started feeling a lot harder on the stone. I have no doubt that there wasn't a little bit of a burnt edge. Wow, that actually, I haven't even done any forward passes yet. That actually came off really nicely. I do notice there's a difference in the bevel thickness. This side, I have to go with a higher angle. This side, I have to go with a little bit of a lower angle. That's something that's going to be a little more difficult to adjust to with a fixed angled system. I don't think it's so dramatic that, you know, it's going to be that big of a deal. All I would say is just work a little bit longer on the smaller side. Yeah, that feels good. Wow, that came off really nice. Much nicer than I expected it to. Some of this new stropping compound I'm testing. Let you guys know in a few days what I think about it. Very nice. Let's do the old paper towel test. Hopefully you guys can even see this stuff. This one might be a little bit more difficult. Definitely cutting through the paper towel. Nice and clean, very nicely. So my hands are a little dirty, forgive me, just got done sharpening. I just cleaned off the table, didn't clean my hands yet, so the knife went really well. The one thing was, yes, it did feel like it had a burnt edge, had to get that off. Once I got that off, it got into good steel, felt fine. It did feel good on the stone once I got to that point, and I probably got there. I did a little bit of extra on my first stone, so I got there off the first stone. So by the second stone, I was really, really feeling it, but the grind is a little thicker on this side than this side. You kind of expect it, to be honest, with a lot of mass production knives. So that's not that big of a deal. And it wasn't so off that it's unreasonable. Did sharpen up extremely well. The edge came out very, very sharp. I expect this to hold a pretty good edge. I honestly expect this to hold similar to 14C or better. I can pretty much, I would bet just about anything that it will not be underperforming 14C. So not by the way it felt, in the way the burr. I've never had D2 that felt that like that underperform 14C. I've had a lot of D2 underperform 14C. Don't get me wrong, tons of it, but not when the burr came up like that and removes like that. And you know, you just don't usually see that. But came out nice and toothy, which is exactly what I want with D2. You want a nice toothy edge. The carbides are large in D2, so you don't want to go with a super fine edge. What happens is it'll get slick, and then the bite that you want on your edge to basically stick into cuts when you're cutting so it doesn't just slip out, that'll go away with a finer edge. Like, it might come out with a really good fine edge off the stone, but once you start cutting with it and using it, you'll touch it and be like, wow, man. And then you'll be able to basically just run your fingers across the edge because all the teeth are gone. So I personally like 400 to 800 grit. My favorite is like a 600 grit. So this being a 650, it's right there in the ballpark of my favorite edge for D2. I did approximately a 17-degree bevel, give or take. And yeah, came out really nice. There was a little bit right here at the heel that did not fully come out with the first sharpening. That's not a big deal. You see this side, it did come out, but that's because the grind difference right here, right? Remember I said this one is a little bit thinner. This one's a little bit thicker. So I did not quite hit the heel right there on that side. Not a big deal. The tip, you know, came out just fine. It did take me a second to hit that. But all in all, man, really good sharpening. It felt good. You know, I didn't get frustrated or anything else, so that's always a plus. All in all, I would say that this is a great value knife. Absolutely, without a doubt. Don't even have to think about it. 100% great value. You can see how much life, pretty much still the same thing, you know, after sharpening. Now I have my bevel set on it. This is probably the bevel I will keep on it. I maybe drop it down a little bit farther, but that's a lot of life to sharpen off. If you can reach your preferred edge angle and you have that much room still after doing that, that's, you know, that's a lot of sharpenings, because after you hit your angle, that's going to be the most steel removed, unless if you chip your edge. So if you do go with a super low angle, you do have a higher probability of chipping your edge. But like I said, with this, I would keep it probably around 17. If I did go to 15, I just would make sure not to use it hard or tough. And if I did micro chip the edge, I still have plenty of room to sharpen out. I doubt it would chip more than a micro chip. So yeah, thumb studs are great, man. Very well placed, good texturing. Like I said, the action is super duper smooth, has a nice sound to it. Very metallic sounding. And for people that want to feel like, it's aluminum doesn't feel, it does feel different than titanium. Let me be clear. It does feel different. I don't want to make it seem like they feel the exact same, but when you get it coated like this, they have a similar feel. So, you know, it does have a more premium feel with these aluminum scales that I do like. So yeah, not very many complaints. You know, I wish this stop pin wasn't there, you know, so I didn't have to think about that. But, you know, the crossbar winds up hitting, so it shouldn't be a big deal at all. And, you know, the clip, I'm gonna, you know, we'll just do it right now. I'm gonna try to take it out and just see if I can't get it to click in there. If not, I don't think it'll pose an issue still, because it just doesn't seem like something that would. But I think I do deserve, or you guys deserve, to see if it will straighten out. It's probably just something rushed at the factory, or it has an upswept lip on it, which does happen from time to time. Yeah, that's all it is. It's just an upswept lip. Now, you know, this is something I'm obviously going to call out. It shouldn't be like this. I shouldn't have to do this. But it's, you know, it's a $30 knife. You know, I'm not... The biggest thing that I'm worried about, I'm secure about, so I'm not that worried about this little deal. But yes, this is a thing. I shouldn't have to do this even with a $30 knife. But to me, personally, not that big of a deal. Yeah, I got a little bit. It's still a little goofy, but whatever. I'm not that worried about it. It's going to go over the pocket just fine. That's what I care about the most. Oh, yeah, it sunk in. There we go. We got it. We got it. I wonder if I would have just pushed it back, if it would have just done it itself. I think the second screw was put in first, and that's probably why it was like that. So I might not have even needed to bend it. There we go. It's all fixed now. So there you go. I might not have even had to bend it, to be honest. But I did either way. So is this the best value budget knife? I would say if it did have 14C, which would give it more toughness and corrosion resistance, I would say by far, yes, absolutely. For $30, that's an amazing, amazing value with this tolerance, this fit and finish, this design, etc., 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 right? TA hardware, deep carry clip that's in set with flat screws. All these details equal yes, I would say so. Now, seeing that it's D2, I'll say does put it in the run where I could probably think of a couple other knives in the $35 range that could compete with this in 9CR18 MOV. Now, D2 does outperform that steel typically, but 9CR is going to have the corrosion resistance and whatnot, and it's going to be a little bit easier for companies to heat treat properly and well. So by saying that, yes, I think it's a great, great value. Is it the best value? It's hard to say. It's really difficult to say, but I'd say it would definitely be in the running. So if I was going to have 10 knives or 5 knives even to be, in a contest of what is the best value knife, this would definitely go into that batch. Work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.